and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latram.com. That's LEITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The story you were about to see
I would
true.
have a
The names have
different opening, but it's like Dragnet every day. Corey Johnson back at you. Holy smokes, rain rolling in. Thunder shower, afternoon thunder showers every day. Some torrential rain. Be careful out there. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you, number 9. That's Mr. Drew Brees with the introduction. Saints opening training camp tomorrow. President Joe Biden tomorrow night to address the nation. We're living in very interesting times right now. Donald Trump, the Republican candidate for president, trying to get reelected. I mean, you look back in history, president for 4 years, not president for 4 years, then being president again. There's very few times. I mean, what do you have? Some multiple term presidents. You have Bush, Adams, the kid being president. No, this is really interesting times we're living in. The incumbent drops out of the race, will not seek a second term. His VP becomes the candidate. It's funny that Republicans just focus on your team and Donald Trump. The lawsuits aren't going anywhere. Kamala Harris is the candidate. It'll be on all 50 states' ballots. I don't know. When I was rooting for LSU, like on a Saturday night when they're beating Alabama as a fan, you want the best Alabama team out there. You don't want a lesser team. You want their best, and you want LSU to beat their best. You don't want their starting quarterback out or a coach is sick or something like that. You want them at their strongest when you beat them. I mean, I'm a Republican, and I'm voting for Donald Trump. Bring it on, Democrats. What would be a concern? I don't get it. It's like, you're LSU, you're Notre Dame, you're Alabama, you're the winning team, right? You don't care who the competition is. But the lawsuits and all this just barking and hoping to gain traction, these absurd long shots. Going to have to keep track of Governor Jeff Landry and the erroneous lawsuits, the silly lawsuits that are costing the taxpayers of Louisiana millions of dollars. We got the 10 Commandments one, which is just a loser. I'm not talking about the 10 Commandments. That's my thing. I love the 10 Commandments. I'm talking about in every classroom. It's either going to be everyone else's stuff up there too or none of it. So it's a loser. And not only is Jeff Landry ready for the lawsuit, he's fired up about it. So is Liz Murrow. They want to take it on. We're ready to spend taxpayer dollars on this loser that everyone out there, Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal, thinks it's legally a loser. But he's ready to roll with that. And hey, we're going to sue to keep Kamala Harris off the ballot, or you're not representing the Democrat people that voted for Biden. You're circumventing the system. It's like, this is politics. There's no laws here. It's no legal. There's the Republican Party, the Democrat Party. They can do whatever the hell they want. Republicans can pull Trump off the ticket tomorrow and put somebody else on as their candidate. States can handle it the way they want to handle it. Some state wants to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. Remember that? Colorado, a few other states. How absurd was that? How ridiculous was that? It's like my analogy a few minutes ago. You want to play the best. You don't want some states not on the ballot and win the election that way. And then there's this controversy, and then there could be some legal fight. And hey, we're going to have another election and just something unprecedented, historic, insane, crazy that dilutes American democracy. You don't need all that baggage and all that crap. No, it's pretty simple. You want whoever the Republicans throw up as the candidate on all 50 states' ballots and the Democrats, and that's how it's going to go down. This is all wheels spinning. This is all political crap. This is another one you can chalk up. You got 2 up there already. It'll be 4. We'll put in a line through it, make it 5. There's going to be a lot of those. These crazy lawsuits, tens of millions of dollars. It could be hundreds of millions bucks plus by the time it's all said and done when Jeff Landry's done as governor in a term or 2. Who knows? A lot going on, including Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle stepping down, a USA Today story reporting about Kamala Harris VP vetting and decision-making. New Orleans' own Cedric Richmond was vetted. Hey, by the way, Trump donated to Kamala Harris when she ran for California Attorney General. Coming up in 10 minutes, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser will join us. Always love getting Billy Nungesser on the program. We're on the same page when it comes to the French Quarter. I love this. No, this is brilliant. He's like, we got to clean up the French Quarter, make it the shining jewel for the city and the state. And he's right. How long have I been talking about reimagining Bourbon Street? That's the starting point. That's the starting point. So we'll talk French Quarter, tourism, litter. I love it. Billy Nungesser, there's the French Quarter, litter, tourism, maybe even a little LIV golf. Billy Nungesser, less than 10 minutes away. In an hour, Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission will join us. Boy, a Fox 8 Lee Zurich story. Mayor Cantrell indictment is imminent. And that's Rafael Goyeneche saying that. Robert Collins, the political analyst, is like, the mayor is proven to be a liar. She lied saying she was not in a relationship with Jeffrey Vappie, and she lied about it over and over again. And Robert Collins wants to know, what else has the mayor lied about? So that's a valid point. Collins says, quote, we now have concrete evidence that the mayor lied when she said there was no physical relationship and there was no romantic relationship with Officer Vappie. We now know that that was, in fact, a lie. The taxpayers are going to be questioning, well, if she lied about this, what else has she lied about? Has she lied about public policy issue? Has she lied about promises that she made to the taxpayer about things that are going to get done? Rafael Goyeneche will join us in an hour. He was quoted in the story. I would expect that some of the future indictments that we may see would be people that are indicted for bribing the mayor. And of course, if they bribe the mayor, then she's done something for them. They will indict her as well. And a really interesting point, and we'll talk to Rafael about this. They've known, he's talking about Vappie and the mayor, they've known for quite some time that there was a federal investigation, as evidenced by the fact that both the mayor and Officer Vappie hired criminal defense attorneys last year. Now, here's the key point that's really amazing. But I don't believe that either of them realized the extent of the government's case, including their cell phone communications, text messages, photographs, and voice messages. And that's evidenced by the fact that you're seeing the government citing events that occurred in April of this year. So after they've lawyered up, so to speak, they still continue to communicate using their cell phones. The mayor obviously believed that her cell phone was secure. and she may have used her cell phone to conduct some other illicit business. But in this indictment, the government is making it very clear that they've had the mayor's cell phone information at least going back to November of 2021. Wow. That is jarring. That is jarring. November of 2021, for like 2.5 years, the government has had Mayor Cantrell's texts and phone calls and messages and photographs being sent back and forth. They've got all of that. Not just about Vappie, but potentially on other stuff. Rafael Goyeneche in 1 hour. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser next. I love going with the best. It's nice, you know, in New Orleans, growing up here, you know people, you trust people with their opinions. As time goes on, you experience and kind of funneling things down. You get to the best. Sometimes right away. Sometimes it takes a little while. Young's Dry Cleaning's the best. If you're tired of your dry cleaner and simply want to experience the best dry cleaner in New Orleans since 1940, doing you right, youngsdrycleaning.com. Go online, youngsdrycleaning.com. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home. River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NolaAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Welcome back. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Watch it. Thunder showers, typical summer New Orleans, South Louisiana. Thunder showers rolling in. Hey, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser joins us on the program. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing great, my friend. Good to be with you.
Yeah, good to be with you, too. Man, we're on the same page on a few things. I love the French Quarter stuff a few weeks ago. Hey, let's make the French Quarter what it should be, the shining jewel for the city, the shining jewel for the state.
Absolutely. You know, I applaud the governor and what he did with the state police. That's the first step. Hopefully we can get it cleaned up, make it shine for Super Bowl, but we can't stop there. The people that live there, work there, businesses, and all of Louisiana deserves it to be a shining jewel. And hopefully this will be the start of making it all it can be and keeping it that way.
What did the business owners and homeowners in the quarter tell you when you were down there?
Well, it's frustrating. You can see it on their face. Their love and passion for that city, and to know they can't get anything done from a cracked sidewalk to a street light fix to code enforcements. Just everything falls on deaf ears. Look, I've been trying to get the streets resurfaced in front of the Cabildo and Presbyterian since I took office. And I'm in my third term. And do you know that's probably the most cross street in the French Quarter? Jackson Square, right there on the corner. We spend more time bandaging people up that fall in the street because all they do is patch it, and that fall in the street and get all cut up, and we bandage them up at the museum, and they leave New Orleans saying you can't walk the streets and without falling. It's embarrassing.
No, and then we see like that concrete redo of Iberville and what could be. And
absolutely.
Let's get it done.
I don't know who has the contract to patch streets, but somebody ought to look into it, because rather than resurface it, I'll go out on a limb and say, I'll bet you we spent more money on patches on that street from the Cabildo to Canal Street than we could have resurfaced it 10 times.
No, you're right. You're right. It's a blue roof. It's a blue tarp. You could have put a regular roof up. No, you're right. You're 100% right, Billy. Hey, you've offered as lieutenant governor, as you know, the second in charge of the state of Louisiana, you've offered to come into the city of New Orleans, into the French Quarter with state funds and assist. And essentially the mayor has said thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, we thought we were close to having an agreement, kind of like they did in San Diego with the gas lamp district, where the management of the gas lamp district was taken over by a committee of business and residents and brought it back to life, cleaned it up, made it safe. Imagine if you had some code enforcement people. I gave them an office in the back of the Cabildo, and in real time, they could be out there fixing, enforcing, and taking care of the French Quarter like the jewel it ought to be. I mean, listen, like I plan on meeting with the council member from down there who does a great job, but, you know, he has trouble getting the streets fixed in Algiers, where the majority of his voters are. So, I want to talk to him about letting us make the French Quarter a state asset. And they could take the larger chunk of the revenue coming in and do other things in the city. We could take a small portion of the income and get state assistance to make it the best it could be. The state has a hard time, it's no secret, giving any money to the city of New Orleans for fear of we don't get the value back or never see. You know, we've been talking about Pump 4 since I've been lieutenant governor. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And nothing ever seems to get fixed in this city and move forward to the next thing.
Yeah, that's amazing that's the case. That's sad. It really, that's a perfect plan. But the flip side, Billy, you have people in New Orleans that feel they're giving up political power.
Listen, Corey, I never thought, we did a study to show the museum systems need to be under one umbrella. A board in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. The Secretary of State fought me on it because she loves appointing the museum director. Unfortunately, her museum directors are political appointments. They're not museum people. I'm willing to give up control of the director, give her as many seats on the board as I got, give her more if she wants. But let's do the right thing and let the museums flourish by a director that knows museums, that works directly for the board, and divide it in 3 areas. Shreveport don't care about New Orleans. New Orleans don't care about Shreveport. We did a 2-year study to show if we did that, all 211 museums in the state would flourish. We could cross-promote them. It's the right thing to do. But she's fought me tooth and nail because, like you said, politicians don't like giving up control, even when it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's a problem, especially in New Orleans and Louisiana. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is with us. Hey, Billy, making the French Quarters, you said, the shining jewel for the city, for the state, as it should be. I've been saying this at least a decade. Doesn't it all start with reimagining Bourbon Street? I'm a native New Orleanian. I don't want to go down to Bourbon Street. No one does. It's a gutter. It's a toilet. Strip joints, trinket shops, daiquiri shops. The per head, it's Sally and Billy driving up in their truck. They walk to the daiquiri shop. They spend $15 each. They walk up and down the street for 2 hours and they leave. It's not the right tourists. It's not the, higher spending demographic. Royal Street shuts down instead of complimenting Bourbon Street. What about restaurants and jazz clubs and reimagining Bourbon Street? Then I think the quarter would take off like a rocket ship.
You're absolutely right. Listen, there's about 5 establishments in the quarter that need to be shut down. The people go in there and they got dope, They got guns, and they get in a fight and walk out on the street and start shooting people. We shut down those 4 or 5 places. Those people, the people that shouldn't be in the quarter anyway, have nowhere to go. That takes a big bite out of that. And it's not people that are spending money. Just last week, another art gallery closed because nobody wants to go down there. You're right. If we don't reestablish some of the live music, and I made a commitment to some of these building owners, close some of these establishments that attract the wrong crowd, put live music back, and I'll put tourism dollars behind it to promote your business and make sure we bring the quarter back like it ought to be. But you're right, we're slowly losing everything that was special about the quarter. You can't walk a block without getting harassed to buy something or something else. In Las Vegas, in Old Town Las Vegas, they got a circle on the street, 3 or 4 in every block. The people, the street vendors, get a license. They have to tell the city what they're selling, what they're promoting, or take a picture with King Kong or whatever it is. You stay in that circle. If the tourists want to take their picture, they will approach you. What a great way to quit having people that don't want to go in the quarter because they're getting harassed to give money for something they're not interested in.
Yeah, and it's a lot of cash business in the quarter, the strip joints and the like, drugs, you mentioned prostitution, just a bunch of drunks. It's nothing nice. Nothing worse, Billy. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. When someone from out of town comes to New Orleans for the first time and they're like, Billy, I want to go to Bourbon Street. You're like, oh, God. You roll your eyes. You're like, it's the last place you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely right. The only time the people that come, they go to the Galatoirs, Revolutions, Antoine's, and I hold my breath because how long can these establishments, they're great restaurants, great chefs, how long can they hold on? Because locals aren't going back. I mean, it's the people coming in town, and people are scared to go down there. And we better change that quickly before we see some of those gems closing, saying, I had enough, I'm moving to Metairie.
Oh, yeah, it's already, like you said, the museum and some restaurants. And no, Bourbon Street could be a gem. Instead, it's like a gutter. And then you get that, like the politicians that don't want to give up the power, Billy. A lot of New Orleanians, I'm a native. Oh, change, it's always been that way. It's never going to change. Like, people are locked into things, even if they're bad around here.
Well, Corey, if you think about it, over the last 30 years, the quarter gets a little better, gets a lot worse. The reason is there's not enough voters in the French Quarter ever to put the efforts from the city council, the mayor, that needs to be put in keeping the quarter safe and clean. So by making it a state asset, I don't care if it's a historical state park, we empower the View Career Commission with some new seats on it of people that really want to make a change. Whatever it is, just like they did in San Diego, if you've got people that own businesses there or live there and they've got the authority, it'll be cleaned up, it'll be safe. And, we're retooling a couple of my offices in the Cabildo and giving them to the state police to put a bank of cameras in there so they can catch people in real time. I tell you what, that commander in the NOLA district of state police is passionate about cleaning up the quarter. And I'll say it again, I applaud the governor for reaching out and stepping forward and doing that. It gives us hope in the future that we actually can save the quarter, and we were on the verge of losing it. So we've got some improvements coming, hopefully cleaned up. The streets will get fixed for Super Bowl, but long term, we've got to change it. It ain't worked for 30 years. Something's got to change.
Yeah, no doubt. Agreed. Hey, Billy, hang on real quick. We're going to knock out a quick break. Billy Nungesser's with us, Lieutenant Governor, state of Louisiana. We're going to talk about tourism and also litter. Another one that Billy's a big fan of fixing, like me. Litter, filth, all over Metro New Orleans, all over Louisiana. Let's be a clean city. Let's be a clean state. We'll talk about that and more. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Don't move. Coming right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Billy Nungesser's with us, Lieutenant Governor. Hey, Billy, any other things you'd like to do for New Orleans that you can do as Lieutenant Governor, or that you maybe need the legislature to help you out with? Any other things you'd like to do that could help New Orleans?
Well, we did a study to show how do we clean up Louisiana. And we spent a little over $100 million a year cleaning up after the fact. We, like I do with everything, I look, what are other states doing right? Tennessee was a very dirty state. They embraced it. They spent about $26 million on the front end, saves them a fortune on the back end. We tried to pass legislation at $1 a year to your driver's license fee to go to litter. What it gave us about $3 or $4 million. I put a sunset in the bill for 2 years, because if I can save you 10 or 20 million on the back end, it goes away. Couldn't get the votes to do it.
Wow.
They'll spend money in their own districts, but they didn't want to vote for a fee increase that would actually clean up Louisiana. So we're going to try raising some private money through some sponsorships and try to stretch the dollars we get now to do more with less, to show we're going to make a difference regardless of whether we get support from the legislature or not. We've got a few that really care and some that just didn't want to bite the bullet. But we know trash has cost this state money, tourism. If you remember back, Nissan was coming to New Orleans East. Everybody was excited. And the president of Nissan in his press conference said, we've decided we're going to Jackson, Mississippi instead of New Orleans East, because if you don't care about your city with all the trash all over, I don't want my people living here. And I never forgot that, because that was a deciding factor in that factory going to Jackson, Mississippi. And how many other companies come here, look around, and say, I don't think so. If they don't care to keep their city clean, I don't want to be here.
Wow, I did not know that Nissan story, Billy. I'm going to look into that. That's disheartening.
But you're right. You want your employees, your families, to live in a clean surrounding, and that starts at cleaning up your city.
Billy Nungesser is with us, Lieutenant Governor. Billy, it's sort of a catch-22. You know, New Orleanians will go to another town for a vacation. They come back. I'll go, how was your trip? They'll go, oh, it was so clean. I'm like, it just burns me up. I'm like, no, it wasn't so clean. It was normal. We're just dirty, okay? They were normal. They weren't so clean. How do we change the mentality? In New Orleans and Louisiana, a lot of the problem is the people, black, white, Republican, Democrat, poor, rich, throwing their litter on the ground like they weren't raised right or something. It's a problem. I think a lot of citizens need to change their mentality.
We're making progress. You know, when I took over, we had about 40 groups every year doing Love the Boot Week with Clean Up Louisiana. This past year, we had over 800 groups in every parish for the second time ever. The last 2 years, every parish had groups. I've got 11 sheriffs. 8 of them, I bought them a van so they can bring work release out, but have embraced on cleaning up. We've got hundreds of businesses signing up to put garbage cans back in the parking lot and empty them. Cracker Barrel's the only one that does it religiously. They got garbage cans all over the parking lot. Their employees pick up garbage in the parking lot and in front of their business on the highway before and after work every day. They set a great example. But we're asking coaches of Little League to get their kids to clean up the parking lot after practice, teach them. We're asking every elected official to speak in the schools. And you're 80% less likely to litter if, one, you get a litter ticket. So we're going to start litter courts in all the parishes.
Great.
Secondly, if you pick up litter for a day, you're 80% less likely to litter. We now have tongs, the grabbers you can check out with vests at every library. Take your kids out for some exercise. Go pick up litter for a few hours one weekend. Get some exercise, and you're 80% less likely to litter. So we're attacking this from all aspects, from the education to the enforcement. I'm trying to get DOTD to get out of the grass cutting and litter business. They have their hands full fixing our roads and highways. Let's give that money to local government. They'll do a better job. They'll keep the highways clean and the grass cut, and because it's their local community. And you can't do it on a state level and do it properly.
Billy, what do we do about the lack of animal shelters? 64 parishes, about 30 animal shelters around the state. Some parishes are absolutely horrendous, and we have a problem with that. There was a thought about maybe having them at some prisons, in some wings of some prisons, or the containers that are repurposed into shelters that are climate controlled, an old shipping container. Got to do something.
You know, that was my business. I built living quarters out of shipping containers. That's a great idea. Let me tell you, I built, got some federal money to make an energy efficient animal shelter in Plaquemines Parish, and we built it right across from the ball fields, and we had a window with the little cubby holes for the cats and dogs where it enticed people to come adopt, and did a great job for years. It's embarrassing that they've let that facility fall into disrepair.
Wow.
It's an embarrassment. But we had a good partnership with the PARS group, people that were passionate about saving these animals, that ran it for me as parish president. There again, it's local leadership, what's important to them. And unless the citizens speak out, and listen, there's a lot of private money available, especially when you do the private-public partnership, it can work. But you got to have that passion to really make it work and fix. I love your idea of the prison. Maybe we might be able to do something and fund some of the sheriffs where their jail people could put a couple of those buildings and take care of these animals behind some of the jails. It would be extra income for the sheriffs, and we give those prisons some worth and maybe some respect for these animals.
Yep.
That could really maybe help change their way of thinking, but also serve two purposes. So I'm going to look into that. That's a great idea. But you're right, it is a problem. I had a riding center for special needs children in Plaquemines, and I had over 100 cats, 24 dogs. We were taking animals down there, feeding them and housing them, because we ended up with a no-kill shelter in Plaquemines. We would not put any animals to sleep.
the shipping container idea is about 30 grand to convert it to a climate controlled, facility that they're little kennels for cats and dogs, even like a desk for someone to work out of there.
Yeah, I can show you how to do it a lot cheaper than that with a wall, insulated wall panel and a window unit. So, but I'm going to look into that. I've been getting involved in the one on the North Shore where I live now to help out that facility. We're sponsoring with Louisiana Seafood. The Seafood Board sponsors events to promote seafood. So we help them raise money at several of the shelters to help fund some of their projects.
Hey, Billy, around these parts with this mayor, I nicknamed her Junket Cantrell. Lots of trips, no results. You've been going on some trips outside the country, but there is a goal, and it's state-oriented. It's to drive tourism, right?
Yeah, I tell you, we were lucky. After COVID, the federal government invested in bringing international visitors to America. Those grants usually go to California, New York. But 5 years prior to COVID, we had record numbers of international visitors because of the work our tourism team does. So we got a $300,000 a year grant for the next 3 years to go to 3 new international markets: Spain, Italy, and India. And I went to India and Spain and Italy because when I go, we do the tourism event at the ambassador's home. So we get more travel agents, travel writers to show up to be able to get invited to the ambassador's home. We knocked it out the park with those two events. Later this year, we're going to India. I'm going to take a little side trip to Dubai and learn how they built all that land. And use hopefully bring that back to Louisiana, because rather than build diversions, if we pump land 24/7, we lower storm surge, we lower your insurance rate, and we make the coast livable. Pump companies ain't going to make a lot of political donations. You get low bid and just start pumping. Engineering, designing, and studying diversions has put a lot of money in a lot of people's pockets, but it hasn't lowered storm surge 1 inch. So I'm hoping to bring back what they did out there and hopefully light a fire under the CPRA to start pumping river sediment and lower storm surge in our lifetime.
I know some of those dredges that they use to build those islands in Dubai right off the coast are Louisiana-built dredges. That's a fact. Hey, Billy, a few weeks ago, flying around in a helicopter with Greg Norman, LIV Golf coming to New Orleans?
Yeah, I really, they asked us until they're ready to make an announcement. They've got some great plans, and I'm going to leave it to Greg Norman when he puts his plan together to come back to New Orleans and make an announcement. But I got to tell you, a really exciting opportunity for City Park. A lot of great improvements and bringing a great event that brings international attention to the city and brings a lot of money. So I'm excited about that possibility and opportunity. And hopefully there'll be an announcement to come in the foreseeable future of what their plans are. He's a great guy, loves the city. We took him to English Turn and City Park to look at both courses. He remembers all his tournaments playing at English Turn.
Yep.
So he's excited about investing in Louisiana, and we're real proud of that.
Billy, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Always, my friend. Have a great day.
You too. That's Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser joining us on the program. Corey Johnson with you.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you. It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yummy, yummy in one's tummy. It must be Treyen. Those lunch specials Tuesday through Friday can't be beat. 10, 11, 12 bucks. About 20 different lunch specials to choose from, plus usually 2 or 3, maybe even 4 lunch specials on the board. You can get it to go. You can dine in. You office managers that need to feed some employees, 10, 50, 100, no problem. Treyen's got you covered like 10, 11, 12 bucks a head. Fast food prices, not for Chinese food. That would be good enough. Some decent Chinese food's better than fast food. This isn't Chinese food. This is Chinese cuisine. This is Treyen with lunch specials, 10, 11, 12 bucks. Dinner tonight, Treyen in Mandeville. So good. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser joining us. I can give you some details about LIV golf that I know about with City Park, like $10 million annually, or let me start over, $10 million to start for sure. The one tournament, it would be $10 million bucks. Talking about tearing down the driving range and rebuilding it, pouring money into the course, upgrading the already very nice City Park South course, the 7-year-old championship golf course, the $30 million course, pouring money into that. millions of dollars into it, upgrading it, having a LIV tournament there. There was talk of it being for the Super Bowl. But honestly, I think because New Orleans is so golf deficient, we don't really have high-quality public courses. The TPC's out. The PGA event is played there. They can't do it there. Just about every other course really isn't up to that level. Metairie Country Club, a private course is. That's as nice as the TPC as far as upkeep, plushness, niceness, anywhere USA. Dallas, Atlanta, Houston. Here, I think we don't have that course. And Greg Norman and LIV are like, wow, we can't do what we did in Vegas. Go to New Orleans, go to some really nice public course that would be easy from the tips and narrow the fairways, speed up the greens to make it ready for the pros. There's nowhere in New Orleans. So I don't know if they're coming for this Super Bowl in February, which is a shame. But they're talking about an annual event. But then I'm hearing like March. And there's no way, no how an LIV golf tournament is going to be at City Park, where Zurich poured more than $1 million into that redo. And the 4Kids Foundation and the PGA Tour, about $10 million, about a third of the $30 million coming from those folks and other private donors. There's no way they're having an LIV golf tournament a month before the Zurich at the TPC. But summertime in the heat, or maybe in the fall in October, that could be a possibility. But yeah, it's a lot of money. LIV has unlimited funds. They do not care. They will. $10 million to them is $10, is nothing. They'll throw $10 million at City Park, New Orleans, like it's nobody's business. Or millions of dollars at English Turn. Anyway, hopefully Greg Norman and LIV Golf make some type of New Orleans announcement and start pouring money into some course. Billy Nungesser, I got to look into this. I knew nothing about this. That Nissan plant that's in Canton, outside of Jackson, Mississippi, Billy Nungesser said that New Orleans East was a finalist for that plant. And the Nissan people came to New Orleans and saw how filthy it was. And they're like, if you don't care about your city enough, well, we don't. How can we? And our employees have to live in that. So they went to outside of Jackson, Mississippi instead. I have a close friend, one of my best friends, doesn't live here anymore, moved out after Katrina, still loves New Orleans, has done well in the last couple of decades where he actually can come into the city and spend a month or so a year out of the year here, but lives elsewhere. He was representing an individual that had a piece of property, and it was in New Orleans East. And this friend of mine got in touch with the Bass Pro Shop people and made such incredible progress selling the city, the sportsman's paradise. You're 15 minutes from fresh, brackish, salt water. There's no fake pond or fake little river you have to launch boats in by your Bass Pro Shop. We got the real thing here. So it was going to be a special Bass Pro Shop. It took months of back and forth talking, meeting with them, renderings, all kind of stuff. Literally, this guy goes and picks up the Bass Pro Shop selection, site selection person. None of this I am making up, and none of this I am embellishing or exaggerating in the least bit. I am telling you exactly how it is. So one Tuesday morning at 10:30, this site selection person lands at Louis Armstrong. My friend picks them up. They drive down the I-10. They go out to the east. They exit off the interstate. They pull up right where the proposed site is, which the Bass Pro Shop people have the maps and the site and renderings of the potential thing, and they're coming to look at the actual site. It's It's maybe 10:45, 11 in the morning, 10:30, something like that. There is a car on fire. Just a vehicle in the middle of the morning, orange flames, 20 feet in the air, billowing black smoke, a car stolen, part of a crime, abandoned, insurance fraud, whatever, sitting right on the road, right on the side of the site where this Bass Pro Shop was potentially going to go. The deal ended right there. That's right, Blue Boy. My buddy said the blood just drained out of him and the site selection person's body. And it was over right then and there. Months of work, all of it. A car just on fire in the east. No Bass Pro Shop. True story. True story. A mini Walt Disney Superman. Coming right back. Rafael Goyeneche joins us.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Portnola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The same old glasses that everyone else is wearing. Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hasenbeck Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Do it our way. Nothing's gonna turn us back now. Straight ahead and on the track now. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Where's Drew Brees when we need him? Let's head to San Diego, the affluent suburb known as La Jolla. It's La Jolla, and here's number 9. Live from La Jolla. Thank you, Drew Brees. On a Tuesday afternoon, Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Make it one of your presets. Locked and loaded, 4 p.m. weekdays, the neutral ground with me. We're on TV 4 to 5:30 weekdays, the first 90 minutes of the 2-hour talk radio program on television statewide. If you're a Cox Television subscriber, Cox Channel 4, weekday afternoon starting at 4. If you're a Charter, a.k.a. Spectrum TV subscriber, it's Spectrum Channel 333. 333, starting at 4 p.m., 4 p.m., 4 p.m. weekdays. We're on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Corey spelled Kaare. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser joined us, talking about the French Quarter, cleaning it up, reimagining Bourbon Street, litter, tourism, a whole bunch of topics. That was in the 4 o'clock hour. 5 o'clock powwow, about 10 minutes away. Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission is going to join us. Another Lee Zurich Fox 8 story. You always can count on Lee Zurich. No vendetta or some kind of whacked agenda, just pure journalism, following the facts, getting tips and leads, doing his own investigative work, and going to bat for us. Politicians, people with public contracts, scamming the system, criminal behavior, BS, nonsense, stuff that we don't want to tolerate, that we shouldn't have to tolerate. The latest and greatest, Zurich. Mayor Cantrell indictment is imminent. Crime watchdog says that. Crime watchdog's Rafael Goyeneche, like I said, less than 10 minutes away. In former New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vappie's indictment, The word mayor appears 28 times and refers to Cantrell as public official number 1 40 more times. The indictment alleges the two carried out an inappropriate romantic relationship and that Vappie submitted false timesheets, deleted messages, and lied to the FBI on numerous occasions to cover it up. Dr. Robert Collins, political analyst for Fox 8, says, and I quote from this story, "We now have concrete evidence that the mayor lied when she said there was no physical relationship and there was no romantic relationship with Officer Vappie. We now know that that was, in fact, a lie. The taxpayers are going to be questioning, well, if she lied about this, what else has she lied about?" Rafael Goyeneche of the Metropolitan Crime Commission said, "I would expect that some of the future indictments that we may see would be people that are indicted for bribing the mayor. And of course, if they bribe the mayor, then she's done something for them. They will indict her as well." Now, this quote from Rafael is pretty interesting. They've known for quite some time, talking about the mayor and Vappie, they've known for quite some time that there was a federal investigation, as evidenced by the fact that both the mayor and Officer Vappie hired criminal defense attorneys last year. But I don't believe that either of them realized the extent of the government's case, including their cell phone communications, text messages, photographs, and voice messages. And that's evidenced by the fact that you're seeing the government citing events that occurred in April of this year. Now, here's the real kicker. So after they lawyered up, so to speak, they still continue to communicate using their cell phones. The mayor obviously believed that her cell phone was secure, and she may have used her cell phone to conduct some other illicit business besides the Vappie situation. But in this indictment, the government is making it very clear that they've had the mayor's cell phone information at least going back to November of 2021, like 2.5 years. 2.5 years. But in this indictment, the government is making it very clear that they've had the mayor's cell phone information at least going back to November of 2021. And the earlier quote, "I don't believe that either of them realized the extent of the government's case, including their cell phone communications, text messages, photographs, and voice messages." Rafael Goyeneche is going to join us in about 5 minutes on the program to discuss this and more. That's amazing. The feds have been monitoring the mayor's cell phone text communications with Jeffrey Vappie and even beyond for about the last 2.5 years. How many other folks are involved? How many other things has the mayor texts or left a message, used the cell phone that could be other, as Rafael said, other illicit. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Anyway. I can't find it. Anyway, we'll get the quote from Rafael in about 30 seconds. Hey, River City's Total Maintenance. These guys will bail you out if you need air conditioning help. Hey, New Orleans, NOLAAC.com. Total Maintenance. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. That's Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys that know air conditioning, that come right away to get you fixed right away. In New Orleans, NOLAAC.com. NOLAAC.com. Hey, Baton Rouge, you need air conditioning help? Total Maintenance has been providing AC help in the capital city for over 40 years. In Baton Rouge, tm-ac.com, like Total Maintenance, tm-ac.com. New Orleans, NOLAAC.com. New Orleans, NOLAAC.com. Baton Rouge, tm-ac.com. That's Total Maintenance. You ever need air conditioning help? Think Total Maintenance. Fair and honest, Lucas and the boys have been taking care of me for about 20 years now. Literally. About 20 years. Installed a brand new system in my house about 3 years ago. 3-ton carrier. Working like a champ. Paying for itself every month. The old unit I had was very inefficient. Finally, we threw in the towel. Lucas was like, Corey, we've stretched it long enough. We keep replacing stuff. More stuff's going to break. Time for a new one. I said, let's do it. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. President Biden, 7 p.m. tomorrow night, will address the country. Donald Trump donated to Kamala Harris's successful run for California Attorney General. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle steps down. USA Today reporting Kamala Harris during the VP vetting that's going on. New Orleans' own Cedric Richmond was vetted. Saints open training camp tomorrow, UC Irvine over in California. Rafael Goyeneche joins us next. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Enjoying some great New Orleans goodies, seafood, fresh seafood, great entrees, chef-driven. A big taste of New Orleans. New Orleans specialties, old school, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. What a place, as New Orleans as it gets. Iberville, corner Tallahassee, in the heart of Mid-City. Katie's. Why aren't you at Katie's right now?
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com. Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex, there's something called quick lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. He heads the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Rafael Goyeneche joins us on the program. How you doing, Rafael?
I'm fine, Corey. How about you?
Doing well, man. Thank you for joining us again.
Sure. Always glad to.
Hey, what does it mean to you when you see anyone getting indicted? The feds are indicting them, and I saw they credited the Office of Inspector General, and they credited the Metropolitan Crime Commission for the assist.
Well, so the government realizes that they need all the allies and assists that they can get. So, the Crime Commission was created over 70 years ago in recognition that crime and corruption are disincentives to growth. And the people that call us to report things to us, they're not trying to decide between calling us and calling the FBI. They're going to call us and they're not going to call anybody. So if they provide us with meaningful information, credible information about criminal wrongdoing, wherever it is, we're going to refer it to law enforcement. And when we refer matters to the FBI and the federal authorities, and that information results in indictments, they acknowledge our assistance. That keeps our phones ringing. And it gives them the information that they need to hold people accountable for criminal wrongdoing. In this particular case, it was police officer Jeffrey Vappie.
So we're just doing what we were created to do over 7 decades ago, and the FBI always has acknowledged the assistance they receive from outside parties, including the Inspector General's office and in this instance, the Metropolitan Crime Commission.
How can folks out there, before we jump in all this, how can folks out there, if they have a tip, get in touch with the Metropolitan Crime Commission? And also, what about those email blasts with the crime statistics you guys throw out at least once a week?
Well, exactly. So if anybody wants to talk to somebody about something that they think is either ethical, administrative, or criminal wrongdoing, they can call us during working hours at 504-524-3148, or you can provide a tip online, either anonymously or identify yourself if you so choose at metrocrime.org. On our website, you can provide tips about wrongdoing, ethical, administrative, or criminal. And you can also subscribe to our email blasts that include information about what our research department is documenting with respect to the arrest, prosecutions, inmate population, and management of judicial dockets in Orleans Parish. They're available no charge, and we send out that information as we develop and release reports. And it's a great way for the public to have a better appreciation of how the New Orleans criminal justice system is operating.
What's that website again?
Metrocrime.org. Metrocrime.org is our website.
Nice. Metrocrime.org. Rafael Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. The Vappie indictment. I got so many questions, Rafael, so you can kind of just give me your opinion on it, generally speaking, and maybe you'll answer some of these questions directly or indirectly while you're giving your opinion. The indictment of Vappie, it seems like you build up to get the bigger fish. Will a plea deal be coming? Will he testify? The arraignment's, I think, at the end of this month. Your thoughts on the Vappie indictment?
So your first statement is absolutely true. So this is usually when you see a public corruption investigation, and keep in mind that the public has been aware of the fact that Officer Vappie and the mayor have been under investigation, starting first with the mayor, going back over 2 years. And I guess about 6 or 8 months ago, it was reported by the media that both Officer Vappie and the mayor had hired criminal defense attorneys. So this is, easily 6 months before charges were brought against anybody. So I think the public has been well aware, and the issuance of federal subpoenas to media of stories reported on the comings and goings of the mayor and Officer Vappie from the Pontabla apartments and dining together on the balcony of Tableau and drinking wine during happy hour at Doris Metropolitan from 2022. So this was, I think, something that was not really coming as a surprise to anybody. I think that this is the first step, and normally in public corruption investigations and prosecutions, you don't see one all-encompassing indictment. You usually see a series of indictments working your way up the ladder, as you referred to at the beginning of this segment. So this is the first rung of the ladder. It involves Officer Vappie and the mayor. And they make it very clear in the indictment that public official 1 is the mayor of the city of New Orleans. And the indictment paints a very comprehensive picture that the mayor and Officer Vappie were involved in a personal romantic relationship. They reference the fact that the government has cell phone records of both the mayor and Officer Vappie that includes text messages, voice messages, and photographs that were exchanged between the two of them over a 2+ year period of time that, in the opinion of the government, provides proof that they were involved in a romantic relationship. Why is that an issue? Well, it's only an issue because Officer Vappie while he was on duty, supposedly providing protection to the mayor and charging the city for performing his duties as a police officer, allegedly was involved in a personal romantic relationship. And under departmental rules and policies, police officers have to devote their full attention during their paid shift on the police department with performing their official duties. If Officer Vappie is consuming wine or dining with the mayor or involved in other non-police specific activities with the mayor, then that is a violation of departmental rules and policies, which means that he's not performing the official duties that he is tasked with doing as a member of the executive protection team. There are 4 members to the executive protection team, and only Officer Vappie was allowed in and out of the Pontabla apartment. Only Officer Vappie was observed dining with the mayor and consuming alcohol with the mayor on multiple occasions. And according to the government, they can prove that their relationship was something much more than a professional relationship. It was personal, and the way that they will prove that is with the cell phone messages, photographs, and voice messages that the government has obtained from their respective telephones communicating back and forth. The government also points out to further evidence of the relationship that the mayor enjoyed with Officer Vappie, that he was under investigation by PIB in 2023 for misconduct with respect to the performance of his duties with the mayor. And as that investigation was concluded, but before any sanctions were issued, the government alleges that Officer Vappie approached the then interim superintendent, Michelle Woodfork, and tried to coerce her or intimidate her or convince her to exonerate him in the investigation. When interim superintendent Michelle Woodfork refused to do so, she informed the mayor that she intended to sanction the officer. It was a low-level sanctions. It was just essentially a written reprimand with no suspensions, nothing that would remain on his permanent record, and he was returned to the executive protection team shortly after doing that. But that still wasn't good enough, and apparently the mayor decided that she was not going to nominate Michelle Woodfork to be the superintendent and called Michelle Woodfork into her office to advise her of that, and Officer Vappie was present during that, which sent another message that not only was Officer Vappie, who is subordinate to both the mayor and the superintendent, was allowed in the room. But I think the government also included that in the indictment because it's further evidence of the relationship that existed with the mayor, that the mayor wanted a police officer to be present in the room when the mayor informed the interim superintendent that she was not going to be her nominee to be the permanent superintendent. So that was just another example of Officer Vappie and the mayor sending a message to Michelle Woodfork and anyone else that was privy to what occurred, that if you cross them, if you don't do what they tell you to do, there'll be a price to pay for that.
This is go ahead.
So I think that this whole thing that we're seeing right now is just the beginning of the next phase. The thing that to me is significant that goes beyond just the Vappie thing, and if you think about it, the government, if they're going to charge the mayor, historically public corruption cases involve more than just what was described in the Vappie indictment. Usually a corrupt official that's charged with federal felonies has received bribes and performed and used their appointive or elective office for personal enrichment. That hasn't been alleged yet. But if the government has the mayor's cell phone records, and she felt comfortable enough to, with her cell phone records and the confidentiality of those cell phone records, to conduct and document the exchanges that the government captured and reported in their indictment of Officer Vappie, if she felt that her cell phone was in fact secure and safe, perhaps the government already has proof of the mayor receiving other criminal inducements that may be the subject of future indictments coming down. So, the mayor underestimated the government's ability to obtain her cell phone records. They've had them. They have over 2 years worth of cell phone records. They documented her, what she thought were confidential text messages, voice messages, and shared confidential photographs between her and Officer Vappie. And if they have her cell phone records, it includes everything on her cell phones, and that would include any communication she may have had with anybody that would have potentially tried to influence her decisions as the mayor of the city of New Orleans and offer financial inducements in exchange for favorable rulings or intervention on her part with respect to her official duties as mayor of the city of New Orleans.
Also, when she got wind of the investigation by the feds, she proactively got an outside company to encrypt her phone, right?
Well, she was using an app that they thought was encrypted in all of this. And I'm not sure if she hired a private consultant or not.
Okay, well, let's just say this. She proactively tried to secure her phone with this app. Right. She went, once she knew the feds were looking, she said, I'm going to get my phone encrypted where they can't see what I'm saying. Would that be accurate?
Well, apparently that was mentioned in the indictment, but the problem is when she thought that they may have had her phone records or could obtain her phone records, they already had them, apparently.
Yep.
So they did mention in the indictment that she and Officer Vappie attempted or discussed deleting all of their records from their phone, all of their communications, in an attempt to impede the federal investigation, which could be evidence of future indictments or indicative of future wrongdoing in the fact of with respect to obstruction of an investigation or possibly misprison of a crime, failing to report a crime that they were aware of. So, again, this is the beginning of the indictment phase. The public has been aware for 2+ years of the investigation that initially predated and anyone being aware of who Officer Vappie was. The initial subpoenas that were issued were to merchants that the mayor used her personal shopper and allowed the personal shopper to use her campaign funds to make clothing and hairstyling purchases for the mayor to the tune of about $6,000 a month out of her campaign funds after the election. So that was the first time that anyone was aware that federal subpoenas had gone out. That was over 2 years ago. And another set of subpoenas went out after the media released the video of the comings and goings of the mayor and Officer Vappie coming in and out of the Pontabla apartment. That was not captured by the media staking out the mayor's apartment. It was captured by media public records requesting the camera that the mayor had installed by the French Market Corporation in front of the front door of her apartment for her security purposes. That evidence was used to document that Officer Vappie, one of 4 members of the executive protection team, he was the only member that was allowed in and out of the mayor's apartment. Some instances, he stayed overnight. He acknowledged during his PIB investigation that he showered in the Pontabla apartment and worked out with the mayor. But he termed his relationship with the mayor purely professional. And the government discharged him with 7 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of false statements to the government. And the questions that he allegedly was untruthful to FBI agents was when asked about his relationship with the mayor, he stated that it was purely professional, that he had never been romantically involved with her, never kissed her, and, was totally performing his official duties as a police officer. So the government is charging him with 1 count of false statements. So 7 counts of wire fraud, which are tantamount to payroll fraud, and then 1 count of a false statement to the FBI in which he misled and lied to the FBI, allegedly involving his relationship with the mayor.
Isn't there also the mayor's consultant or political advisor, the 6 figures that came out of the campaign that went to this woman? Maybe some of that money going back to the mayor.
Well, so we don't know. We know that those subpoenas went out over 2 years ago, looking into that aspect of it, but we don't know. The government hasn't played all of their cards yet. So as we talked about at the beginning of this segment, you usually see indictments released in a series. If you go back to Ray Nagin, you go back to Aaron Broussard and some of the other public officials, you don't see the government laying out their entire case and indicting everybody at the same time. It's usually in a series of steps. And usually there's 2, 3, sometimes 4 series of indictments before the public official is indicted. It remains to be seen what's going to play out in this case, but I expect this indictment was issued by a grand jury whose appointment expires at the middle of next month. So I would think that the government would like to resolve this with the grand jury that's received all of the evidence that's been presented to them over the course of their appointment, which exceeds the past year. So if they could ostensibly wait and convene a new grand jury, but it would further delay the indictments because that means that a new grand jury would have to be presented with evidence that this grand jury is already conversant and familiar with. So I expect that if the government can line up all their ducks and dot the I's and cross all the T's and they get their way, they would like to be able to present and seek indictments for any future individuals with a grand jury that's in place right now but expires sometime in the middle of August. So in the next 3 weeks, I expect we'll see some more with respect to this case evolving.
So more indictments, and then eventually the mayor being indicted.
Well, there's no guarantees. It's speculation on my part and everyone else, but that's what I believe right now. That's what I believe, that the mayor has been the target in this investigation from the inception, as evidenced by the subpoenas that were issued to the merchants that were sold the mayor clothing, or the mayor's personal shopper clothing.
Yep.
And other things. So I think that to me suggests that the federal government has been looking at the operations of the mayor and what she's been doing with personal funds and campaign funds and potentially other funds that may have been provided to her by third parties that were seeking her to do political favors for her in her capacity as mayor of the city of New Orleans.
Outside of the legal ramifications of this, Dr. Robert Collins made an interesting point in the Fox 8 story that you were a part of, where they interviewed you as well. He says this indictment proves the mayor lied. And then what else did she lie about? That's a good point.
Yeah. So the issue, yes, it's not a crime to lie unless you lied under oath. Officer Vappie lied to a federal agent. I doubt that the mayor has made statements to federal agents. So what the government is alleging is that Officer Vappie lied to a federal agent. And we know that Officer Vappie and the mayor both made public statements that determined their relationship as personal, is professional and not personal.
Yep.
So the fact that Officer Vappie lied and the mayor lied to the media and in public statements, that doesn't make it a crime. What makes it a crime in Officer Vappie's case is that he lied to a federal agent.
Sure.
Yeah. And the mayor lying to the public is not something that she can be charged with a crime with. But, keep in mind that, any prosecutor, when they review the evidence that they have, they review the evidence through the prism of what is the defense going to be. Because their objective is not just to arrest, but to convict. And the standard to convict is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So every prosecutor, when they're deciding to charge somebody, anticipates what the defense is going to be, and they review their facts and evidence to see if they think that they have sufficient evidence to overcome any defense that's going to be offered. So I think that the government feels very, very comfortable, despite what Mr. Vappie's criminal defense attorney is saying, that he's innocent and he'll be acquitted.
Yeah,
he'll have that opportunity.
Yeah,
but for this to go to indictment, the government has to be very, very confident that they can prove all 8 of the counts for which he's been charged with. And when and if the mayor or anybody else is charged, they'll not only consider the evidence that they have, but what the possible defense is going to be. And if they go to indictment, they believe that they have sufficient evidence to overcome any plausible defenses that are offered by the indicted subject.
Rafael, I'll give Jeffrey Vappie this. Harry Rosenberg is about as good as you're going to get as a defense attorney. That guy's smart as can be. Just from what you know, and how smart Harry is and advising his client properly. Do you think a plea deal's coming? Do you think Vappie will testify? I know it's just an opinion, just one.
Right. So Officer Vappie, former Officer Vappie, retired Officer Vappie, he has 2 attorneys. He has Harry and he has another attorney.
Sean Clark.
And, Sean Clark made statements yesterday that not going to be any plea deals. He's going to go to trial and prove his innocence.
Wow.
And all. So that's going to mean that, Sean Clark and Harry Rosenberg were 2 of the better white-collar crime attorneys anywhere in the country, particularly in this region.
Yep.
And they don't work cheaply.
No, also, though, especially like during the Jim Letton era, we'd see the same, day one approach by the indicted and their attorneys, and then in a month or 2, they're pleading guilty or, changing their plea. So anything's possible.
Yeah. So now that he's been charged, the discovery process, pre-trial motions are going to be launched, and the defense is going to be presented with all the evidence that the government has against their client.
Yep.
And after they review those, the evidence, they could very well decide that they may want to negotiate with the government, a potential plea bargain. So all of that is a possibility. The fact that yesterday we're going to trial with the stance doesn't mean that that'll be the case as this case progresses. Maybe it will, but more often than not, it's not. Usually there's a deal confected between the accused and prosecutors, whether it be on the federal level or the state level. Only about 1 to 2% of the cases that in which individuals are charged actually go to trial.
Does this July 31st arraignment in like 10 days do anything? Make them speed up?
No, it just basically means that that's when the court officially takes control of this case, and that's when the pretrial discovery. So there'll be, a not guilty plea entered on that date, and then Mr. Vappie's attorneys will have the opportunity to begin to review the evidence that the government has amassed against him and prepare their defense and talk with the government about what would be some potential deal offers that might be on the table if that's of interest. If not, you just plow through all of the pretrial motions, docket the case for trial, and call up a jury. It may take the better part of a year or longer to get that to that point if they want to drag it out. But if everyone wants to move forward quickly, it could be a lot quicker than that in federal court than it would be in state court.
Is it safe to say some judge signed off on the feds having access to the mayor's cell phone information?
Absolutely. I mean, government just can't unilaterally seize that information. Yep. They have to present evidence to an independent third party, which would be a judge, authorizing them to obtain those records.
Yep.
And so a judge applies, the reasonable standards to those requests. There has to be something articulable that's presented to the judge that provides the probable cause for the judge to grant, the government to have access to someone's cell phone records.
And how much do they get? Do they get it all or everything, or they only get stuff that is pertaining to what they requested? And we don't know if it was just Vappie and the mayor. It could have been the mayor and other people. What do they get when they have access to the cell phone?
So we don't know, but they probably requested a couple of years worth. And to do that, they can't just say we think or we were told. They have to articulate in their application to obtain those records credible information. There has to be probable cause submitted to a judge that those records are likely to contain evidence of criminal wrongdoing, and the government has to articulate why they believe that that's the case. So, and then a judge applies the law to what the government is asserting and makes a decision whether to grant it or deny it. So the fact that it's been granted means that the judge considered what the government presented and it was sufficient to authorize it. We don't know when this was authorized, but this case has been open, as we know, for over 2 years. I don't know at what point the government obtained their cell phone records.
Yep.
So I can't tell you, if there's been more than one subpoena issued for their cell phone records, or just one, or what the duration. I know in this indictment, they are alleging that the mayor and Officer Vappie began a romantic relationship, not later than I think November of 2021.
Yeah.
Which was the beginning of the mayor's second term.
2.5 years ago.
And it, according to the wording in the indictment, that continued at least through the end of April, because that's when Officer Vappie submitted, I guess, the last timesheet as a police officer that was included in one of the counts listed in the indictment. So, as you pointed out, and as I stated, you're talking about 2.5+ years of cell phone records of not just Officer Vappie, but the mayor as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there are other texts that are incriminating.
Well, that's exactly what I suspect, that if the government can prove that they were, they felt comfortable and secure enough to use their cell phones to talk about their personal relationship, and Officer Vappie and the mayor were communicating about deleting their records and whatnot, I think it's pretty obvious that the mayor, at least at some point in time, and Officer Vappie both felt that it was safe and secure to use their cell phones to communicate. And then when they began to realize that maybe they weren't, they discussed about how to go about deleting all of their records. But the problem was that the government already had their records when they were talking about deleting records from their cell phones.
Rafael, you said this is just the beginning. Any final thoughts till we visit next time?
Well, like I said, I don't think this is over. I think that there is, more to come in all of this, and I think it might be sooner rather than later. But again, that's just me reading the tea leaves.
Yep.
Government moves at their own pace, and it's always driven by the facts, the law, and the evidence. So if it's 3 weeks, that's fine. If it's 3 months, that's fine too. And if it's not at all, we're not going to hear anything. It'll just go away, and Officer Vappie will be prosecuted, but I don't believe it's the latter. I think it's the former.
No, I fully agree. Rafael, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the info and the time.
Anytime, Corey. Good talking to you.
You too.
Take care.
Yep, that's Rafael Goyeneche joining us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Wow, so much great information. Are you kidding me? Incredible, in-depth, just insightful facts and good, strong opinions. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. Helm Paint and Decorating for over 55 years, steering you in the right direction in New Orleans, now in Baton Rouge. That's right, capital city. When it's time to paint, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Baton Rouge, go to Helm. Do it once, do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread. Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right, Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday. You know, we're on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube, which, you know, after the fact, basically a podcast, which means in like 2 minutes, you can check out the 4 o'clock hour, which you'll want to. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser joined us talking about reimagining the French Quarter, Bourbon Street, litter, animal shelters, tourism, LIV Golf. Greg Norman coming to town, flying around in a helicopter a few weeks ago. And then in the 5 o'clock powwow, we just visited for a good 30 minutes with Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission, breaking down the Vappie indictment and what's to come. You can check all that stuff out. Corey Johnson, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost a thing. What's that, buddy? Thank everyone for watching and listening. Thank the corporal for running the controls. Thank Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser for joining us in the 4 o'clock hour. Rafael Goyeneche just in the last hour. Yep. What else, buddy? Come back tomorrow. Wide open Wednesday, straight up 4 o'clock. You're right, Blue Boy. Thanks, buddy. Mañana.
You're on The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.